now to check in with our weekly feature, Politics Wrap, with my colleague Natasha Phiri, who joins us this evening. Very good evening to you, Natasha. What do we have lined up?
Thank you so much, Mpho, and thanks to our SABC viewers. We've got a lot on the political front this week. We will be talking to Mike Shingange shortly from Cosatu. But on to the story, the Government of National Unity can expect more protest action by workers in the future as long as it remains unresponsive to their demands. This is according to Cosatu's first Deputy President, Mike Shingange, speaking outside the Johannesburg Stock Exchange on the Labour Federation's National Day of Action today. Thousands of workers across the country took to the streets to call for a moratorium on retrenchments, as well as decent pay and working conditions. Now, we're actually joined by Cosatu's first Deputy President, Mr. Mike Shingange. Mr. Shingange, thank you so much for joining us on SABC News. Just first and foremost, did the strike actually have an impact that you wanted to, as workers? Did you achieve what you wanted to achieve? And furthermore, earlier on, you spoke to my colleague Nosipho Radebe, and you had said that the GNU government could actually expect more protest action by workers in the future as long as it remains unresponsive to their demands. Please expand on that.
Thank you very much for having us, and good evening. Yeah, no, of course, the strike will have achieved what we had anticipated, because, of course, the impact is not something that we are going to get on the day. What we will have expected was the workers to go out in their numbers to defend and in support of their demands, because the strike is really about what the workers are facing on a daily basis in their working and their living life every day. So we think that it was a good day today for the workers. We also want to appreciate the other federations and the civil society that came to join the workers on the street. I did say that the government of national unity will and can expect a regular mass protest like this one, for as long as they remain unresponsive to the issues of the workers. It is not because they are the government of national unity. It's for anyone else who ignores the grievances and the demands of the workers. So this was the first kind of the march, at least under the government of national unity. But I'm sure you will have noticed that our protest was not only directed at the government. It was directed even at the capital. That's why, for instance, earlier in Gauteng, our workers went to the JSE, which is it's where the captain of the industry are converging. But of course, we are alive to the fact that the current arrangements of the government, it's a convergence of political parties and the capital itself. The political parties, some of whom are representative of the big capital and the businesses. So while we're talking about government, but at the same time also talking about the captain of industry themselves. So indeed, anybody who has got the responsibility to respond to the cries of the working class and the civil society in general can expect no peace for as long as they're not responding to the issues that are brought by workers.
Okay. Mr. Shingange, just putting it bluntly, do the workers actually accept the government of national unity?
Please repeat that question.
Just putting it bluntly, do the workers accept the GNU?
I don't think it's about the workers accepting the GNU or not. The GNU is a result of the elections process, where there was no party that won the outright majority. So the GNU, if you like, is a process of democratic process in this country, therefore becomes a legitimate government. What the workers have as a problem is a composition of the GNU. Firstly, the workers expect the GNU to succeed and work because for any government, for society to benefit, the government must succeed in its intentions, might work. But we have symptoms, we have got indications now that says that the GNU, if not checked, will reverse the progress that has been made by the South African over the past 30 years. And that's our concern. That is so because the political parties, some of them that are part of the GNU, they've never liked the developmental agenda of this country. They stand opposed even to the real dismantlement of the apartheid itself. They stood on the side of wanting to prevent the march towards democracy and freedom in this country. They are still here. They continue to do so. That is why some of them, it's not us saying so, it is them. They are in court today to oppose that which overwhelming majority of South Africans have been fighting for the past 20 years, the universal health care coverage. Some of them today, they have an audacity to say that the Employment Equity Act must actually be declared unconstitutional. They have an audacity to say the national minimum wage must actually be scrapped. They are opposed to the Basic Education Law Amendment Act as it is now. So those are the people who don't like that which majority of South Africans fought for, and they don't like that which we have achieved over the past 30 years. And if given a chance, they're going to work within the government of national unity to try and reverse that. And that's the problem we have. We're saying to those who come from our ranks, they must keep in check, they must not forget who they represent, because the other parties, they don't forget who they represent in that GNU. It's not about us accepting or not. It's about us being worried about what it can be done by the GNU if left unchecked by the majority of South Africans.
And you talk about those symptoms. I think in your assessment, the GNU has now passed the 100-day mark. What is your assessment of the GNU so far? There have already been concerns about job cuts in the education sector as well.
Of course, ordinarily, we wouldn't want to be part of those who judge any person or any government by just a mere 100 days. It has taken us 30 years to try and drive a developmental agenda in this country. It would be foolhardy for us to expect anyone to beat himself on the chest and say that they've achieved something in 100 days. More so because this animal called the GNU is still in a formation. I don't think many of them that are part of this convergence still know how this thing has to work. They are still in a form. There are departments that are amalgamated. There are departments that have been unbundled. There are departments that have been reconfigured. Therefore, a number of policies are still being formulated, and we're interacting with that process where we work. So it will be not fair for us to even want to judge it by the 100 days. In fact, it's not even fair for themselves to try to start to think that they are succeeding on this part. But the policies they come with from where they come from, including in their policies, including their manifestos, they are the proponent of a lean and mean state. They are the proponent of a state that has got no responsibility to deliver service to our people. They are the proponent of a decapacitated state, a state that is weakened, that is dysfunctional, a state that is not resourced well. That is why, even though the population is growing and growing, the headcount of civil servants is going down and going down. The austerity measures that they've been proposing for have been implemented in government. In such a way, you go now in the Western Cape, for instance, you're going to have about 2,000 teachers having to part ways with their posts because of the budget cuts. Indeed, jobs are being cut in each and every department in the public service, but jobs are being cut in each and every sector of our economies, in the mining sector, in the retail sector, in everywhere, as a telecommunication jobs. So that which some of the political parties that are in the GNU have been fighting for is what actually is happening. That's the reason why the workers today came up and said, let's respond to this onslaught that is coming towards the working class and the poor in this country by firing a first salvo and say, if you're going to proceed on the trajectory of trying to reverse that which the little that we have advanced over the past 30 years, then you're going to meet the masses of our people, because we can no longer take any further card or any further reversal of the progress that we've made so far. So we don't think it's working, and we want it to work. We want to be honest with you. We want it to work because when any government works and when any government is effective, it is to the benefit of society. So we don't wish the GNU to fail. Okay. But what we don't want the GNU to do is to be the catalyst of the reversal of the gains of our people. Okay. The attack on the rights of workers, the attacks on the affirmative action, the attack on the redress progress of trying to get those who were previously disadvantaged to be equal. We don't want government of national unity to be a platform in which the inequality is going to be deepened in this country. We don't want the government of national unity to be a situation where the president's hands is going to be tied from implementing even the very act that you have signed of the national health insurance or even of the Bella bill, simply because there's a small section of business and white supremacists who are not happy, who they're forgetting that there are people in this country in 1976 that they died because they were fighting for an imposition of an Afrikaans as a language in schools. Okay. Today they are fighting because that constituency has been attacked simply because of the basic education level amendment. Okay. We can't accept that. So that's what we don't want the government of national unity to be remembered for.
Okay. Mr. Shingange, I don't know if you heard the Genyo fellow alliance member, the SACP General Secretary, Mr. Solima Paila, calling for the alliance to pull its ranks and to protect the ANC chairperson, Mr. Panyaza Lusufi. I want to know, what is the attitude of workers towards the ANC in Gauteng versus the ANC nationally? Because last week on this very show, we spoke to the DA national spokesperson, and they had said that they labeled Panyaza as anti-GNU, but also perceived him as a stumbling block to the formation of a GPU here in Gauteng.
Well, I was with the General Secretary of the SACP in the March. I certainly didn't make those comments in the platform, perhaps made somewhere else. So I had no an opportunity to hear that. And I will not want to get into a situation where I want to categorize the ANC as a federal organization. What I know is that the ANC is a unitary organization. So there's no Gauteng ANC and the national ANC as far as we're concerned as Cosatu. I will not know in what context. We are not briefed about why we must close ranks and defend a chairperson of a province of the ANC. I think when that time of us being briefed comes, we can able to go to comment. But if it is in relation to the pronouncements that the chairperson of Gauteng has been making over the past few months since the elections, precisely when it relates to behavior of the Democratic Alliance, in particular the Helen Seal. If it relates to the stance that the Comrade Panyaza Lusufi has been having, in particular to the insistence that the president must sign the bill even when there was hesitant, I think we're fully behind anyone who will not want the GNU, as I said, to be an opportunity for those who have not liked us in the past, who have declared us as the black people, as the workers in this country. For instance, the Democratic Alliance went to the Cosatu House on the 2nd of May to declare workers as the enemy number one of the state. We are unapologetic about supporting anyone who declares them as enemy of the workers, if that's what they feel about us. It doesn't matter whether it's Panyaza or whoever it is. For as long as we've got the white people who think that the majority of the workers
Mr.
who are losing their jobs.
Unfortunately, we have to cut the interview short. We've run out of time, but we will catch up with you at a later stage. Thank you so much for your time. That was Cosatu. Of course, a lot to look forward to this week in terms of the politics front.